Wow guys, today it's time to review the new and world's first 24-105mm 2.8 from Canon. The recommended retail price currently in spring 2024 is just under 3,600 euros. If anyone should have serious interest in this lens after watching this video, feel free to message me and I will connect you to my favorite store in Frankfurt for the best price. My first impression was like, wow, it's big, and the second was, wow, it's light. I had to check and it's only 1,430 grams with a constant aperture of 2.8 with 11 aperture blades. We had the lens for a day and tested it on the Canon EOS R5, R6 Mark II and the R3. At the top we find an RF ring, below is a focus ring which will come back later, some programmable buttons and the zoom ring. By the way, the lens does not extend, then there's the aperture control ring and a tripod mount. On the side we find the usual buttons for the autofocus and image stabilizer. The filter diameter is 82mm. That's how big the 24-105mm is compared to my Canon EOS R5. If you want a comparison between the 24-105mm f4 and the 2.8 version, feel free to comment under this video. The R5 seems to be a bit heavier than the R6 Mark II. The balance is perfectly maintained with the R6 Mark II, and the 24-105mm lens stands on a tripod collar which can be rotated by 360 degrees without a center click, unfortunately. You've probably seen a review of this lens already, so I'll show you things here that I would be interested in. This includes, for example, the zoom range. This is how a 24-105mm looks on a full frame sensor. If you're using an APS-C camera, you have a crop factor of 1.6. It's strange that on the Canon website I found information stating that the minimum focusing distance is only 45 centimeters at both 24 and 105 millimeters. My impression was that it's more variable, but as I said, I might be mistaken. In any case, it's great for close-ups, for example for nature photography, and as an all-purpose lens for vacations to capture a beautiful set table, flowers, animals and more. It's also a superb lens for capturing details of all kinds in video mode. By the way, we found a few magenta color fringes, easily corrected in Adobe Lightroom with the automatic correction in less than 2 seconds. Since 2018 I haven't had a single RF lens in my hands that was not sharp. The best mixture of aperture, ISO and shutter speed will give you the best result. You will find the appropriate tutorial on my channel Learning Photography for Beginners. With both cameras, the photos not only appear ultra sharp in Adobe Lightroom, they actually are. Even with a 2.8 aperture, the lens performs really well from the center to the edges. Even handheld in low light, so for over 3,500 euros you'll definitely get the right performance. Even though you probably have to spend more than 6,000 euros with the appropriate body. As a press photographer, you almost only need one lens, and this could be this one here. Wow, the optical image stabilizer combined with the integrated one is really gimbal-like. These shots were taken handheld and they look really impressive. Even in low light, I tried a shutter speed of a 1/6 of a second and still got sharp images. Now imagine using this lens on a DJI Ronin with the advantages that the lens doesn't significantly change its center of gravity since it does not extend while zooming. You will get another real performance boost here. I was about to say that I was disappointed with the autofocus because it focused on cars instead of faces. But hey, I just switched to car tracking in the camera's menu. So it's important to keep that in mind, what exactly you want to take photos of, whether it's animals, cars or people. You should decide beforehand. Then the performance is really good, especially when paired with the right camera body like the R3, R5 or R6 Mark II. Whether in photo mode or in video mode, in low light or for capturing animals, it's a versatile lens in every aspect. This is especially noticeable with portraits. Thanks to the tracking and eye autofocus, it worked perfectly, even with a lot of movement and even in backlight. Imagine you're in a studio at a press ball or events where you used to have to carry a 24-105mm f4 and a 70-200mm 2.8 lens. Now, maybe you only need one lens thanks to the constant 2.8 aperture, unless you specifically need a 200mm lens. Whether in photo mode or in video mode, with or without movement, it's definitely a good lens for all kinds of portraits. Imagine you're going on vacation or taking a city trip, where you would have previously taken a 24-105 because it's a good all-rounder lens. but with the additional lens due to the f4 aperture. Maybe now you only need to take one lens with you. Thanks to the 2.8 aperture, it's ideal even in low light with features like noise reduction in Adobe Lightroom, so even at higher ISOs like 12,800 or 25,000, it's no longer a problem. Canon offers an additional power zoom adapter PZE2B, which retails only at 1,500 euros. I hope you can catch the irony behind that. Here's the thing, pair it with a good body, and by that I don't necessarily mean the first R models like the Canon EOS R or RP, but one with a good autofocus like the Canon EOS R5, R6 or R3, and perhaps soon the Canon EOS R1. And you have a lens with very good features for filmmakers. These include a good image stabilizer, a smooth aperture control ring, a constant aperture of 2.8 and a minimum focusing distance of 45 centimeters. Essentially, you can't get much more versatile than this. But I'd like to hear your opinion on that. Are you a photographer or actually a filmmaker and use this lens already? I'm not sure how much lens flare triggers you, whether you tend to avoid them or find them pretty cool, especially for portraits at sunset. But I did find them quite pronounced. On one hand, I think the shots here are pretty cool, but you can hardly ignore flaring when shooting directly into the sun. Saving the best almost for the end. 105mm, it delivers a truly beautiful blur background. Even at 24mm, it's quite lovely. However, you won't achieve the same look as with a telephoto lens at 105mm. It's great for low light portraits, nature, filmmakers and capturing details. Something that stood out to me negatively was the manual focus ring. It felt really stiff. This could be also due to the fact that perhaps no one had used this lens ring before me and it needed to be used a couple times. However, for 3,500 euros, it's something I didn't want to overlook. I mean, imagine buying a Porsche that doesn't run smoothly at 130 miles per hour. Maybe I just got a lemon, and that brings us to our conclusion. If you're searching for the almost perfect all-rounder, bright, relatively light, with fast autofocus and money does not play a big role for your investment, then get this lens. If you already have a 24 to 105mm f4 and all the other fast prime lenses, or an RF 70 to 200mm 2.8, then you might also take those ones on your next vacation. I believe if this lens had been one of the first RF lenses released, I'd probably have 2 or 3 lenses less in my camera bag. But earning 3,600 euros takes some effort as well, so think carefully about it. The performance is amazing, and for your next vacation you might only need one lens, but it comes with a price. Now I'm curious to hear your thoughts. If you're interested in this lens, feel free to reach out. You can actively support my channel by purchasing the camera, memory card and all the other gear I used with one link in the video description. Until then, all the best from Frankfurt, see you soon and tschüss.